The next thing that you should consider when we're talking about PvP is bringing enough mags for the battle. On any given map, you're going to run into quite a few players, or could possibly run into quite a few players. There have been lobbies where I've killed 10 people, for example, on interchange. I've killed 8 on reserve. Not only are there lots of PMCs to kill, but there's also scavs and also scav players. So you want to bring the proper amount of mags into the raid so that you're able to effectively kill these guys without having to constantly repack a spare mag that you brought into raid. This would be my typical loadout in any given raid. I'm using 2 60 rounders and another 2 30 rounders. So that accumulates to about 120 plus 60. So you're talking about at least 180 bullets just in terms of magazines that I'm bringing into raid. In addition to that, typically I'll bring about 3 stacks of ammo as well. The reason why you want to bring 3 stacks of ammo is because sometimes there's a lot of people in raid that you didn't account for. So sometimes you're going to have to be forced to pack mags. You want to have enough mags and enough bullets to kill everybody on the map and to kill anybody that comes in your way. So I would say a good general rule of thumb is you want at least 150 to 200 in just mags. So I would say a good rule of thumb is having 150 to 200 bullets just in your mags. And then I'd say you want to bring about 2 to 3 stacks of packing ammo just in case you need to load your mags. If you don't want to load mags for whatever reason, you can simply just bring more ammo and bring more mags in the first place. But you have to remember that it is possible that you can die. This is Tarkov, and that's something that you seriously need to consider. Let's talk about grenades. Grenades are one of the most effective tools to be able to push people and to be able to get people out of certain positions. That being said, I typically bring about 5 to 6 grenades into every single raid. But there's lots of variations of grenades. Let's talk about each one, and I'll give you my opinion on them. The first nade that we're going to talk about is the VOG 25. This is arguably the best grenade in all of Tarkov. And the reason why it's the best is because it has a fuse time of 2 seconds. Meaning, when you yeet this thing, a lot of people never even have the opportunity to get out of the way. So, if you're looking to toss a grenade and then have the immediate kill potential, VOG 25s are extremely, extremely good. The only thing that you need to keep in mind is that these nades are quite expensive. They cost about 30k per nade. The reason why they're so expensive is because they're very, very good. VOG 25s are a fantastic choice, and they offer immediate kill potential. Very, very nice. Its baby brother, which is the VOG 17, is also an amazing choice. But you'll notice the difference is that the fuse time is 2.5 seconds instead of 2 seconds. The maximum damage per fragment is a little bit higher, it goes up to 70, but the explosion radius is only 2 to 5 meters compared to 3 to 9 meters. So these are the big boys, and these are pretty much the little brothers. Both are going to be a little bit more pricier than any other nade, but they get the job done really, really effectively. The reason why you don't only want to run VOGs, in my opinion, is VOGs are very, very good for close range engagements. But not all of your engagements are going to be close range. In fact, using grenades that don't immediately explode gives you the opportunity to make plays and to yeet them down longer hallways or longer areas so that you can run around and make a play instead. VOGs have the shortest fuse times. M67s, on the other hand, have the longest fuse times. They have a fuse time of 5 seconds, which is very long. Here's 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Compared to 2 seconds. 1, 2. The reason why M67s are so very, very good is because, number one, they offer a huge damage per fragment. They offer a huge amount of fragment counts. The radius is very, very good. But, and you're also able to yeet these things as far as possible. These grenades go a longer distance than any other nade in all of Tarkov. So if someone is down a very, very long hallway, or someone is down all the way across the map, you can yeet these things super, super far. However, A lot of the ways that people play around M67s is to use them as bait. For example, when you are in a close engagement fight, people don't typically focus on a type of nade that you're throwing. Because all they want to do, as soon as they hear a pin, is get the crap out of the way. So, you can use this to your advantage. So, a lot of people use M67s as baits. They're able to throw it out and then also peek at the same time, which is very, very nice. The other two grenades that I'll mention for the purpose of this guide is the F1 as well as the RGD. They're very, very similar to one another. The F1 has a 3.5 second fuse time, so does the RGD. They do similar amounts of maximum damage per fragment. There are more fragments with the F1, and the explosion radius is very similar as well. I'd say F1s and RGDs are almost interchangeable. So typically in a loadout, like I said from the beginning, I'll bring about 5-6 nades every single raid, because there's a lot of people that like to hold corners. There's a lot of strategies around using grenades. I'll probably go more into this in my next video, but that's a very, very simple nade guide for all of you guys out there. The next thing that I want to talk about is meds. Meds are super, super important in raid, and the reason why they're so important is because you need a heal. You're going to get shot. You're going to get shot by PMCs, you're going to get shot by player scavs, you're going to get shot by scavs themselves. So it's important that you bring enough meds into the raid so that you're able to heal effectively and keep moving on. So what I typically like to bring is a Salewa. The reason why I like the Salewa is because it stops blood loss, which is huge and happens quite frequently. There's 400 out of 400 as an HP resource of the Salewa. The IFAK is similar to the Salewa, but the HP resource is only 300 out of 300, and the maximum amount that it heals is only 50 out of 50. The reason also why I prefer Salewas over IFAKs is the fact that, let's say your arm gets hit down to 1 out of 60. If you use a Salewa, it'll heal back all the way to 60. If you use an IFAK, it'll repair back only to about 50. So not only is there more HP resources, but at the same time, it's going to fully heal a limb instead of only partially. Typically, I found that having the additional 100 HP resources helps a ton, so that you don't have to carry multiple IFAK. Cars are also an acceptable option. They do stop blood loss. However, the HP resource is only 220 out of 220, which is not that much. I would not recommend carrying cheeses and applying bandages, because it's just not time efficient. If you're in a close quarter combat situation and people are pushing you and people can hear you when you pop meds, for example, they might push you when you're using meds, and that's always a big no-no. So I always carry a Salewa, or I use an IFAK as an alternative. The second thing about meds that you need to consider is using a surgical kit. There are two surgical kits available in Tarkov. You have the Serv 12 and you have the CMS. The difference between them is very simple. The Serv kit takes longer to apply, and you get more HP resources back. So say, for example, someone takes out your left arm. It goes to 0 and it's blacked out. If you apply a Serv 12, it's going to take a little bit longer. It takes 20 seconds, but it restores HP, let's say, back to 50 out of 50. In addition to that, if you have a fracture as well on your blackened limb, it'll remove that fracture, which is very, very nice. You get 15 out of 15 uses out of the Serv kit, out of a brand new Serv, so it's going to last you a long while. I almost always carry a Serv kit in my Gamma or in my Kappa. The other option is to use a CMS kit. A CMS kit has only 5 uses. It's a 2 slaughter as opposed to 3 slaughter, which is nice. But you'll notice that it doesn't remove a fracture. So say that this left arm gets blacked and it also has a fracture on it, you also need to carry a splint for that matter. The reason why I prefer to use a Serv kit over CMS is that it also repairs your arm only up to a certain amount. So when you use a Serv in the previous example, it goes back to 50 out of 50. If you use a CMS, I believe it goes to 40 out of 40, which is no good. In battle, there are going to be times when you have 1 broken limb, maybe 2, maybe 3. I've even had 5 broken limbs before. Having the ability to heal your broken limbs so that you can shoot, so that you can run, and all those things is super, super important. So in my inventory, I'm always carrying either a serve or at least a CMS. Surgical kits are super important because if you have a blackened limb, you're going to be greatly affected when you PvP other people. You're not going to be able to walk effectively. You're not going to be able to shoot effectively if your arms are blown out. And it's just a bad experience. Having that surf kit available so that in the event that your limbs get blackened, you're able to heal is a huge advantage. The next thing that I want to talk about is stims. Stims can be super, super helpful in PvP situations. Now, there's a lot of stims in Escape from Tarkov. I'm not going to go over each one. There are some guides out there that go over every single one and what they do and when you want to use them. I'm going to give you the quick and dirty gotcha version of what stims to use. These 5 are the primary stims that I would use in any given raid. The ones that I carry the most with me, I'd say, are the ETG and maybe SJ6 or Mule. The best stim, in my opinion, out of every single stim out here for PvP is the ETG. The reason why it is because of the health regeneration. Ow! Heal me! He almost killed me! He almost killed me through my arms, dude! Freaking arm gamer. Dude, this is why ETG is so good, man. Like, look at this. This heals everything so quick. Dude, green pen saves lives indeed. When you pop an ETG, your entire body heals very, very quickly. As you can imagine, that can be a very, very helpful thing in PvP. How many situations have you been in where you have multiple broken limbs? When you're out a leg, out an arm, your stomach is bleeding, your thorax is about to die, all those things. It happens constantly. An ETG can immediately heal your entire body very, very quickly. So I always carry an ETG with me. The way that I see an ETG is it's a save your life stim. The only downside behind using an ETG is that it's going to drain your energy. It about halves your energy from 100 down to 50 after you've used it. That's the one thing that you need to watch out for, but this stim is probably the best stim in the game. Some have argued that it needs a severe nerf, but while it's still very, very strong, I would advise everyone to use this as an emergency stim in case your whole body is lit up and you don't have the opportunity to be able to immediately heal using Salewas, or heal everything using a Salewa. Propytol kind of does the same thing as ETG, except on a much slower scale. ETG, as you'll see in this labs clip, heals everything ridiculously quick. Propytol heals everything, but very, very slowly. You would say that Propytol is a big budget version of the ETG. The other stims that I'd recommend are the SJ6 and a Mule. The reason why you want to use SJ6 is because it gives you max stamina and it lasts for 4 minutes. What this means is that you can run very, very far and quickly also recover your stamina even if you're a lower level. There are a lot of maps out there like Shoreline and Getting to the Resort, like Interchange and getting to the tech loot spots, where getting to certain places first will give you a huge advantage and get you all the loot that you want. So, when I was a lower level and I didn't have elite endurance and elite strength, which gives me a ton of stamina, I would carry an SJ6 to maps like Shoreline and to maps like Interchange to make sure that I'm able to get in strategic positions and also get to the loot first. The other stim that I recommend is the Mule stim. What the stim allows you to do is have 50% greater weight limit for 900 seconds. which is 15 minutes, which is a very, very long time. So after PvPing, after you wipe a full 4-man or 5-man, after you wipe a bunch of PMCs, you want to be able to get out with their loot as well. So typically I'd carry a Mule Stim before I had Elite Strength and Elite Endurance, so that I'm able to extract with all the loot. Mule Stims are very, very strong. They last a long time. The one thing that you really need to watch out for, though, is the fact that you'll take an additional 9% damage, which is a lot. So this is a stim that you want to use at the end of the raid when you think most of the lobby is wiped and you're heading to extract with that big old couch backpack. The other stims that I'd say that you should consider using are morphine as well as meldonin. The reason why I don't use morphine very often is because I'm typically popping pre-painkillers. We'll get into painkillers in just a bit. But what this does is it removes pain. Morphine is excellent if you don't want to use pre-painkillers because it's an immediate injection, it just takes 2 seconds to use, and then all of a sudden you're able to run on blackened limbs. That's the whole reason why you want to use painkillers in the first place. So morphine injectors are very, very good for that purpose. The other stim that I'd recommend as well is meldonin. The reason why this is so strong is because you'll notice this perk right here, that you'll take 10% less damage except damage taken by the head. The big drawback behind meldonin is that it's going to highly decrease your hydration and your energy quite quickly. So a lot of people that use meldonin end up bringing like a lunchbox as well as some water into raid to debuff against this. The ability to take additional damage, as you can imagine, can be a very, very strong perk. So if you think you're going to get into a heavy fight and take a lot of damage, meldonin can be the difference between living and dying. The last thing that I want to talk about is bringing painkillers into raid. The reason why painkillers are so important is because they remove pain. The reason why this is significant is because there are going to be times where people black your legs, where your legs are taken out and you're not able to run anymore. The only thing that will save you so that you can run again are painkillers. There are lots of painkillers out there. Whenever I go into raid, I typically either bring in a Golden Star, an ibuprofen, or a Vaseline. The reason why I bring one of these three is because they have a lot of uses, number one, and these painkillers last for a long time. Golden Star, for example, lasts for 600 seconds. Vaseline lasts for 500 seconds, and ibuprofen also lasts for about 500 seconds as well. The difference between Golden Star, Vaseline, and ibuprofen are pretty minimal. Golden Star will give you a little bit of energy and give you a little bit of energy recovery and hydration recovery. It also takes the longest amount of use, though. It takes 7 seconds. Vaseline, on the other hand, takes 6. It'll take a little bit of your energy and hydration. It only lasts 500. And ibuprofen lasts 500, but it has 12 out of 12 uses, which is very, very nice. The way that you use these in-game is that as soon as you load into raid, you want to pop a painkiller immediately. The reason why you want to pop it immediately is because perhaps you run along and there's a spawn close by and someone shoots out your legs. If someone shoots out your legs and you're out in the middle of the open, there's a very, very good chance that you're going to die and that other player is able to kill you. If you pop one of these, on the other hand, and someone takes out your legs, you're able to keep running, which is amazing. These remaining painkillers that you have are Augmentin, Analgin, and Morphine. Morphine we've already covered. You already know how it works. It's a stim that gives you immediate removal of pain. Augmentin is just a one-time use of ibuprofen, which is pretty much the same thing, except you only get one use, so that's why I don't use it. And in painkillers, it takes 3 seconds to use, and it only removes pain for about 3 minutes, which is not that great. The wonderful thing is that it's pretty darn quick, but I like to pre-pain and be able to run for 10 minutes, run for 9 minutes without being interrupted, even if my legs get blacked out. So that's going to be it for this first PvP guide. This is all about preparing for the raid. Hopefully it gave you a brief idea of things that you should consider. There are some things that are left out. I didn't go over using helmets, using armors, what rigs to use, what backpacks to use, and things like that. I'm going to go ahead and cover that in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this very first video in this series of how to PvP. If you like it, Be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. Leave any comments if you have any feedback. This is not a comprehensive guide, like I said. This is a quick and dirty gotcha version of how to PvP, and specifically in this video, how to get ready for PvP. I hope you enjoyed. If you'd like to see me in action PvPing on a daily basis, I try to stream every single day from about 1 o'clock p.m. until about 8 to 9 p.m. on twitch.tv/gotcha. Be sure to check out my stream. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one.